What's up, guys? Welcome to another range day. Today we're going to be shooting my PSA AK-74 again to test out some of the recent upgrades that I've done. So if you've been following along so far, a few months ago I purchased this AK-74 from PSA and got it out for a first shots video. While it was a ton of fun to shoot, I did end up having 5 light primer strikes and 3 failures to reset the trigger in the first 160 rounds, resulting in about a 5% failure rate. So I contacted Palmetto State Armory, went through their warranty process, and then a little over a month ago I posted an update video where it exhibited much better performance after coming back from warranty repair. With just 1 light primer strike and 140 rounds fired, bringing my total round count up to 300 rounds at that time. So after filming and posting that video, I went back and forth for several weeks trying to decide if I wanted to keep the Plum furniture on it or test out some of the upgrades I had originally planned for it. As you can see, I did end up going with some upgrades, so let's talk about what I did. So the biggest thing that I did is I installed a Zenitco Sport-4 rail system. While I really did like the look of the Plum handguards, I absolutely love the way Zenitco furniture looks. It also increases functionality by allowing me to install a vertical foregrip, which is something I love having on my rifles. In this case, since the Sport-4 rail has Zenitco's proprietary basis rails and no 1913 Picatinny in its base configuration, I decided to go with the RK-0L Basis mounted vertical foregrip. Then I installed a TangoDown pistol grip, which helps feel my hands better than the standard Romanian style grips that many AKs come with. It gives me a better purchase on the gun. And honestly guys, that's actually all that I've done, but it feels like a totally different rifle now. These upgrades did add just under 10 ounces to the gun, so not terrible, but definitely noticeable in terms of the weight gain. So I want to test out these upgrades today and see how they affect the performance of the AK-74. And while we're at it, even though I'm sure it's going to make it hilariously front heavy, I'm going to try suppressing it with my dead air Wolverine as well. Alright, so that's what we got going on today guys. Let's hit the range and see if these upgrades make a difference for me. So guys, I want to give you an idea of the difference between shooting the PSA AK-74, both suppressed and unsuppressed. So I'm going to start off with 2 shots into the dirt here, slow fire, unsuppressed, and then I'm going to cut to 2 shots with the Wolverine suppressed, also in slow fire. So let's start with the 2 shots unsuppressed. Alright guys, had a great range day today with the AK-74 from PSA. I shot just over 200 rounds with no malfunctions at all, so I was really happy with that result. Then at the very end I decided I wanted to get one more shot, and I did have 1 light primer strike. It did fire no problem on second strike, but overall the failure percentage for the day was less than half of 1%, so I'm really happy with that for a range toy. As far as my thoughts on the upgrades that I did, mixed emotions honestly. I love the TangoDown grip, so I knew that was going to be a winner for me, so no issues there. I absolutely love Zenitco products, but I have to say at first I wasn't really positive this was making the difference that I wanted to make. I love the vertical grip, and the handguard honestly feels fantastic. So the feel's 100% there honestly. But one thing that took a little bit of getting used to that was kind of an interesting result I wasn't expecting. While adding just under 10 ounces to the gun did decrease the felt recoil, because most of the weight was added to the front of the gun, I did notice that I had more muzzle movement initially. Now part of this is just a training thing, because by the end of the session it was shooting really well for me, but it did throw me off a bit when I got started and the muzzle was moving a little bit more than I remembered. It's pretty hot today. I will say that the aluminum handguards get pretty warm, and I definitely recommend gloves, especially if you're shooting suppressed. Otherwise, the handguard held up really well for me, and again, once I got used to it, it was a ton of fun to run. Guys, I gotta be honest here, this thing's suppressed way better than I expected it to. It's actually a ton of fun to shoot suppressed. With the extra 21 ounces or so added from the Dead Air Wolverine, the muzzle was barely moving at all when I was shooting rapid fire, and the gas really was not too bad at all. It's definitely a bit on the front heavy side, but I shot about 70 shots suppressed, and it really didn't bother me at all. And then of course, due to the longer barrel allowing the AK-74 to have a full powder burn with 5.45, it was actually pretty quiet at the ear for the shooter, but of course with still a big supersonic crackdown range. So guys, in the configuration I was running this in today, it was about 8 pounds 11 ounces without the Wolverine on it. Once the Wolverine is installed, it's just under 10 pounds. So it's certainly a pretty heavy gun in this configuration, but it's also a ton of fun. So for those that may be wondering about the challenges of installing a Zenitco handguard on a PSA rifle, since I'd already done it on my 105 and I've installed a few other ones as well, it really wasn't too bad. It does require a significant amount of filing to the underside of the handguard, but I was able to get it on much quicker this time than I did with the 105. That said, I don't know how visible this is going to be because my camera doesn't focus very well up close, but the handguard is backing out just a little bit. It's less than a millimeter. I honestly don't think it's going to move any more than this because it's being held in by the handguard retainer at this point. Now, there's absolutely zero wobble or noticeable movement in it at this point. As long as it stays where it is, I'm not going to be too worried about it. Now, the stock is wobbling a little bit on me again, but after receiving the gun back from PSA's warranty repair, I realized that PSA actually includes 2 set screws on the inside of the rear trunnion, and tightening those actually removes all the slop from the stock. It's really nice, honestly. But since it did move a little bit on me today, I think what I'm going to do is put some Loctite on those screws and get them down nice and tight so it shouldn't happen anymore in the future. So with all that said, what are my thoughts on the AK-74 in its current configuration, and am I going to keep it like this? I think I probably will, honestly. At the beginning of the day, I had maybe just just a little bit of regret about not leaving the Plum handguards on because I loved how well it shot with those. But by the end of the day, it was shooting real smooth and real quick for me, so I think I just need to get used to it. I'm still using the stock trigger, which I actually love. I do have an ALG trigger that I could put in it, but I'm not sure if it really needs it. I've got a Zenitco charging handle cap that I could put on here, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to run that on this. I'll give it a little bit more thought and maybe I'll try it out at some point. I'm honestly really psyched at the performance when running this gun suppressed, so I'm definitely looking forward to doing that more for sure. So that's gonna be all for today, guys. We got a lot more videos coming up soon, including more AKs, ARs, PCCs, handguns, and shotguns. Remember to like and subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned, and thanks for stopping by.